Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another DroPodcast. This is episode 32. And today we've got a few guests. We've got Rapid Relief back, we've got Nicigee, and we've got Project Incursus. And it seems like I
there.
quickly need to fix something. But
I was gonna say something here is missing.
yeah, something is missing. Well, Mr. Incursus, can you say a little bit about yourself, please?
Well, hello, my name is Project Incursus. I am a squad lead for Winter Gaming on the Emerald server and Tyrant Republic. I specialize in aircraft, specifically, well, aircraft. I do flight schools, flight training and such for really anyone who wants to learn aircraft and such. I also run a YouTube channel. I do a lot of live streaming, lots of live streaming, less Planetside than other games, mostly RTS games, but Planetside is a lot of fun, and you'll find me there very often.
What kind of games do you play? Like, what kind of RTS games?
RTS games, things like Forts, Age of Empires, StarCraft 2 is a big one.
Nice. Okay. And we've got another guest, a new guest, Nicigee. What about you?
Yeah. Very toxic, like peak toxic Jaeger main, completely disconnected from any normal Planetside pleb. So yeah, very toxic, and has played this game for way too long, and has actually stopped playing. But I guess I'm playing again now thanks to Corona. So thank you, Corona.
Thank you, Corona.
Yeah.
A great start today. And we've got one more guest. We've got Rapid Relief. What about you, Rapid?
Hey. My name is Rapid Relief. I lead NATO, which is an organization of all the Emerald outfits on NC. I'm also one of the product managers for the Planetside Guide team. And I also am a captain of GSLD, which is Emerald's strongest Zergfit. Fight us,
Okay. And well, guys, I'm Faber1, your host of today. And we've got four main topics, or three mainly. We've got escalation, the whole update. We've got state of the air gameplay right now. We've got the Planetside Guide coming live. And we've got one kind of topic, Bastion overpowered or overhyped. But let's start with the elephant in the room, I think. The escalation update. It hit with almost 11,000 players yesterday evening. What is your guys' first impression? And let's start with Nicky, because you're back to the game right now.
Okay. Not so much about the content of the update itself, just it's nice, like, to see that much effort put in, and like it's nice that they can it really shows that they have some sort of capability now compared to before to actually put things into the game, whereas before it was just kind of maintenance, so it's nice. It shows their capabilities. I haven't thought too much about the content yet, but yeah, it's a decent update.
But you kind of lost like confidence in the team making Planetside 2, or is that how you mean
like it? I don't know how much confidence I should have in a team that is 3 people,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice to see that they are now allowed to actually do stuff, and it's not just a fantasy dev team. They actually do stuff.
Nice. Okay. And Incursus, you've been seeing a lot of gameplay as well with the Bastions. What do you think?
Yes, I think that the content is less important than the amount of players that are active at all times now. Now, Planetside is an MMO. It's strictly an MMO. There's no single-player component. It requires you to have friends and opponents to play with and against. Now, Planetside hasn't had player population issues. There's always, active times. There's plenty of ability to go on and play the game. But now it's all 4 continents open all day, every day. And that is something that we haven't seen in my entire time of playing Planetside.
Since
it allows
2014.
Right. And it allows for much wider gameplay. I can actually choose what continent I want to play on, when I want to play on it. And there's always fights in just about every lattice. and it makes for much more active, much more fun gameplay, even if I'm not being affected by the new content. Because frankly, the new content isn't something that's going to be seen everywhere. It's something that larger outfits can field often. I'm part of a larger outfit. I have access to these things, and as a squad lead and leader, or at least in the leadership of WNTG, I can pull down an orbital strike whenever I want, because we're such a large outfit that we're constantly getting resources. But even then, it's not something I find myself needing to do. It's just not that crazy gameplay changing type of environment, type of new content. The best part is just having new outfits to play against, or suddenly this outfit that only had a few names in it every so often is now dumping a platoon on some random side edge of the world lattice. It's just normal for that to happen now. At least it has been since for about a couple weeks before the actual launch of the escalation update. Actually, I think it was just the hype that brought all the people back.
Brought a lot of old people back as well, from what
Right.
I've seen.
And
old
especially
outfit, so.
as a pilot, to see a lot of players come back, a lot of names that I've never heard of suddenly knocking people out of the sky, makes me so happy.
A lot of banshees as well.
Well, that's
I can
edible.
understand. So let's go back a few weeks before all the hype started. Did you feel like the air was a bit like desolated, like nobody was flying anymore, or?
Oh, so
Oh,
you're already jumping topics here. All right.
Yeah.
So the air game, in terms of that question specifically, I'm not going to go too hard into that topic just yet. I'll wait till a little bit later.
Sure.
But yes, basically it is quite desolate most of the time. You have very rarely anyone in the air. It's dominated by a select few people who are just have no other interest in Planetside outside of specifically flying. So you end up with, there'll be one scythe. Like on Emeralds, you'll have max population on a continent. I don't know, like Indar, for example. You have one scythe in the air. If you're lucky, you get maybe 2 or 3 scythes. And then it's the 2 out of the 3 scythes are new pilots that don't know what they're doing. And the one scythe is the one scythe that's always there going around shooting everyone down. And it's basically the same thing for NC, for TR. If you're lucky, or if you're paying attention,
every time, yeah.
It's just a very select few amount of people, and usually it's the same people across all the factions. It'll be that one guy, that one scythe on Vanu has alternate accounts or alternate characters on NC and TR, and they just revolve around. It's like, I feel like playing NC today, I feel like playing TR today, and that's basically the state of the air game for.
It's been like that for like not just 2 weeks, like.
Yeah, it's been like that.
That is what
2
it was
years almost.
Yeah,
before the update, before the hype.
definitely.
And we've got one more guest over here, Mr. Rapid Relief. You were the first outfit actually to pull a Bastion. How was the
Yes, sir.
experience?
It was incredibly entertaining, and it honestly, I think it's brought the air game back in a sense. GSLD has done a lot of air zerging, and I think that's also helped bring back the air game, because it's like, oh look, let me go chase down these air. Can I say shitters on stream?
Yes, yes,
okay, yeah.
please.
So you have a bunch of air shitters, and you're like, okay, let me go challenge them, and then you get like this competition between, because good pilots quit the game because there was no one to fly against, right? And so when an outfit like GSLD or Winter Gaming pulls a Bastion or does air zergs or air cheese, it gives these good pilots a reason to come back to the game, which I think they've been missing for a long time, which I'm happy to see.
Yep.
Okay. And have you also tried the other things like Steel Rain and the new Shield Bubble, or mainly the Bastion?
Dude, that stuff costs Bastion resources. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna. No, we have a stockpile of them, honestly, because we were crafting Bastions off cooldown, because again, we have almost 1,200 members now in GSLD. We gained from 380 to 1,200 in the past month, so a lot of people playing, a lot of people giving resources. So but like Steel Rain is annoying and it's tough to use, and Citadel shields are fairly easy to kill if you know what to do.
Yeah,
So-
that's been our experience as well. The orbital strikes are incredibly useful. The Citadel shields are super niche. Like, you can get like 2 minutes of use out of it before someone realizes that all they have to do is shoot their node on top. The Steel Rain is just not it's just not as useful as having someone go around and put a squad beacon down. It's not all that, and it's expensive. In terms of the anvils, the only anvil worth using so far that we found is the heavy anvil, and even then, it's why spend outfit resources on a heavy anvil when you can use an orbital strike? So,
And just to give me some, I haven't used them myself. The heavy anvil is for dropping tanks or for dropping sunderers?
Sunderers and
prowlers.
main battle tanks.
Non-battle tanks, yeah.
Okay.
So for
Interesting.
Sundays.
Yeah, the only
Yes,
time I use them
it's for
is,
Sundays. It's only for
time I use
Sundays.
them is I will right click on the map, steal rain to a base on Jaeger, and I will pull a heavy anvil of a Sunderer on Jaeger.
Heck yeah. Mega cool.
And yeah, that's what you use it for. And if you get it in a good spot, you could put like double cobalt on it. And there you go.
So with this whole new update, do you guys think that outfits have a lot more possibilities, a lot more versatility? Is it actually worth to play in an outfit right now due to all these additions, basically?
From I don't know, only have the mid-fit perspective, and it's like I guess we're gonna save up the Bastion for memeing because it takes a long time, and maybe like once a month we save it up because it takes that long for like an outfit that maximum has like 10 people online. And the other stuff is really just the heavy anvil if you want to pull a Sunday, but it's probably not worth it anyways because the fight moves too fast and it's not worth the resources. So yeah, I don't know.
Now, if you could pull a router,
Yes, it's like a spare. Yeah, if you have the resources, I guess you can do it, right? But it's not like as a small squad. It's not what you would focus on at all.
I think it's
Anything
less.
around.
It's
Yeah,
less
Inquisitors?
about the new content making outfits worth it, so much as it gives you something else to grind for. It gives it a reason to say, hey, I should take this base because it helps me get a new toy later. And that's a thought that's in the back of everyone's head while things are going around. It's a reason to fight at a base that you wouldn't normally fight at. It's a reason to keep playing where you wouldn't normally. And
Is it for you? Like, is it for you? Honestly, is it for you and your outfit or your squad or your part? Like, do you change
absolutely.
up how you played before? Really? Okay.
Absolutely.
Because the mid fits or like the small outfits won't really, because you're
they
not
really
gonna
don't
take gonna take Nasons anyways. So like, no matter how hard you try, so you're not gonna change up your style. Yeah.
Yes, it's the purple resource is the limiting factor there. that one we've discovered quite quickly. I've seen outfits or squads move over to off continents at random times of night to attempt to contain that. I've seen the amount of construction bases being made on the construction points, because those are all worth blue. And having those converted up into purple is it's just ridiculous. I mean, there have been times we've gone into off continents and we can't even find cordium. It's the amount of construction going on right now just around those bases is obscene, and it's actually quite fun, to be honest.
I'll agree with that 100%. I've seen more. This update has done more for construction than harm, because of course you can just orbital strike someone's base from the minimap, but now you can just you have reasons to fight over these blue bases, these construction site bases, and put bases on them. And I'd like to see where this goes in a month from now. When people actually have to fight during alerts, because alerts don't really matter right now because everyone's just getting resources for the update. But after this initial phase, I want to see, all right, what's going to go on? Are we going to see people fighting actual fights and making construction relevant, or are people just going to orbital strike these bases out of the map and call it a day?
Right, and that's something I'm seeing everyone doing, not just your big outfits. Actually, I see less big outfits. I see less GSLD. I see less 1TMI and WNTG doing these base buildings, so much as the smaller outfits that are just trying to get the blue resource and having it converted to purple.
Oh yeah, we don't do base build. Past putting up 6 rider bases, or not 6 rider bases, 6 riders, fires, 2 bases.
Right.
That's about it. If you make any big bases, then they get sniped off the map, and we don't like that.
Exactly. That's what I'm seeing a lot of, and that's something the construction seems to be more of a smaller outfit kind of thing, and it seems to be working out. Like we had the other day, a Bastion pulled from a small outfit. They only had like 6 guys, and this was on I think Friday.
Which was it? TG?
No. It was a TR outfit. I can't remember the name of it. I remember seeing the name of the outfit like once before in the years that I've played. It was a small outfit, and the only thing I remember of them was that they had done a lot of construction before, and then they had a Bastion out on like Friday evening.
So it's grindable, I guess.
Right.
But if you don't do construction, it's not.
And what we've been seeing a lot in the PTS test back before the update actually hit is that there were a lot of Bastion v Bastion v Bastion fights. But right now, how is it? Is it mainly one Bastion is coming up and the other factions have to fight it? Or do you see Bastion versus Bastion fights as well on the live service?
We've seen Bastion versus Bastion a fair few times. A Bastion on the field seems to prompt a reaction Bastion out of the other factions. However, for the most Bastions I've seen aren't met with another Bastion. They're just met with droves upon droves of aircraft and galaxies and such coming to knock them out of the sky.
Bastion v Bastion fights. We had the one AODR pulled theirs, and then we pulled ours after. And Bastion v Bastion fights are unfair because the Bastion with the higher elevation, which is the later pulled Bastion,
Just let hit points exposed, right?
Exactly. And then the guns shoot down. So
yeah, they can't actually kill each other.
Yeah. When we pulled our Bastion, when WNTG pulled our Bastion on Saturday, an NC outfit pulled theirs. Unfortunately, we were very close to the middle of the map when they pulled theirs, so we just beelined it straight to them and basically knocked them out of the air before they got their interceptors out. But that was fun.
It's really cool. Is there already like a kind of meta for the Bastion, how to kill it easily or how to protect it?
Don't.
So far, it's very difficult to tell. People aren't really trying to use the Bastion effectively right now. It's a cool new toy. Everyone wants to get out and try it. Everyone wants to sit in the gunner and try it out and see how it works. No one's really trying to use it effectively at this point.
Well, he's not asking about meta style. He's just asking about how do you protect it right now. And what we've been doing in GSLD is we've just been covering the hard points with rep gals. Cycling
Yes,
rep
that seems to be a pretty effective strategy.
But you guys, then we can actually kind of talk about it a little bit. Do you guys think that the Bastion right now is overpowered or in the right spot?
I thought, like, I saw the Dog P stream, right? The like 500 kill streak thingy-majingy, and I thought it would be pretty, like, that would pretty much break infantry fights where it went, but from the 8 hours that I have played this weekend and the few Bastions that I have experienced, I've actually not been killed by a Bastion yet in 8 hours, so it doesn't really have as big of an effect as I thought, to be honest.
Same.
Not game breaking for infantry players.
So far, no. I've only been with the T Bastion on the same faction, you know, but they haven't team killed me yet. I don't know how that feels from the other side, but
the best thing is that you
it's
don't
not
get
as game
team kill
breaking
ribbons.
as I thought.
I've actually already
Since
seen
you don't get team kill ribbons. Yeah, since you don't get team kill ribbons, you can just, shoot your own spawn room up if you really
You're gonna see that for sure.
Dude, NC will be the first one to get 500 team kills an hour. Let's watch.
Well,
Oh, good God.
I
Someone's
guess it
going
just
to do it.
depends.
It's just
I
a
guess
matter
it
of
just
time.
depends on how you play as well, because if you just play infantry and you just want to farm, like, you just don't go where the Bastion is, I guess. And the Bastion only goes to Zergs anyways, so you wouldn't be there anyways. It's just that it has the potential to be very annoying, but it won't really be, I think. Because you can always just move somewhere else.
But let's see in a month from now, right?
I think it has more of an
fighting.
I guess it has more of an impact on people like you guys who actually lead platoons, because you are not as mobile, like, you fight for territory, right? So when the Bastion comes your way, the Bastion comes your way.
The Bastion comes our way, we shoot it out of the sky.
Yeah, so you actually, like, you actually deal with it, you know? Like, if you are 12 guys, you're not going to deal with a Bastion.
I find it difficult to answer the question if it's overpowered or not. I'm very much so the kind of person that prefers to let it ride for a little while and then look at the data, look at the responses, and gather an opinion and speculations and anything off of that data, which we really just don't have yet. Especially considering that people aren't actually trying to take continence with it right now.
We will see, I guess. Yeah.
Interesting.
All I can say is that off of the first few days, I haven't seen anything terribly
It's not completely broken.
concerning. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
completely broken. That's all I have to say about it. The killing through spawn rooms thing, okay, that's probably a problem that should be fixed, but that seems more like a bug than a design decision. So I'm not bringing that
It's
up.
not patchable, and the reason why is because it's spawn room shields don't render outside of render distance. So if you can't see them, they can't see you, and therefore
And you can
stick
hit
to the
right through it.
walls. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
You
won't
can-
happen to fix unless they up the render distance. If they up the render distance, everyone's gonna fucking hate their lives, right?
Right.
Yeah. I guess Bastion is fine. I guess,
Okay.
or not broken.
One of the fun things also is that the Planetside team is already looking forward to the next patch. The team is already working on something new, and they've been teasing a big tank on the Twitter page.
Oh no.
From Planetside 2. Do you guys, it's nice that we're gonna have some new additions to the Bastion, like a tank or anything else? Or would you like to see something completely different in a new update?
Nice. Like I wrote that comment, right?
Mhm,
You saw
yeah.
that, Faber.
I saw it.
It
yeah.
is. It is nice. It's always nice to have new content, right? You can't say, "Oh my god, new content." That's automatically bad. But it's a lot of dev time for that, and that dev time could maybe be put into different things. It's not objectively bad. It's just maybe you could do something better with the time and the devs that you have.
Apparently, the
Because
Colossus was already in the game,
I don't
kinda. so-
think anyone is crying, "Oh my god, we need a Colossus in the game," right? But everyone's saying, "Let's have better performance," or "Let's have some
Let's be able
better
to log into
bases."
Miller this week.
You know,
I mean, there are so many wishes and so many different opinions. I mean, I think adding something like a big tank is easier for them to fix the whole server issue or to fix the...
yeah, but why not fix the server issue? Maybe because you can't.
Yeah, that's probable.
Buy more membership, guys. Come on, help out the game.
It is
Yeah.
that is entirely possible. My opinion on the matter, I'm not particularly. I'm the kind of I don't want to call it old school gamer. I'm more interested in game mechanics and the inner workings of games and sort of getting good at things. Maybe that's why I enjoy Planetside, specifically flying so much. So I'm less hyped about new content than most. However, I have worked in software development for a very long time, and I'm very familiar with the differences and the benefits of doing new content versus fixing old stuff, even things like mechanics, back-end things. I find it very difficult to ever, for any reason, dislike or disapprove of new contents in any software, video games, or otherwise. The reality is, new content is what keeps things going. New content is what keeps the people around. New
But it
content
keeps
is
bringing new players, but it doesn't keep people. It brings in more. It fills the bucket, but if the bucket has a hole, it's still draining.
Well, also the same with
still
performance.
draining.
Look at the
If you can
Excellent as well.
overpower the drain with content, then that's good.
Mhm.
But if you can't, you
Yes.
have Planetside.
That's good, but there is always the amount of people that will stay around just to see the new thing. Think Fortnite, for example. They have new content patch that comes out every week. It's a game of saying, "Hey, what's going to be new this week? What's this new thing that's coming out?" Or this confidence thing of people saying, "Hey, the developers are still very active. Look, we just got a brand new, I don't know, walking mech," or whatever it was. Maybe bad example for Planetside
Ooh.
specifically, traumatic reasons, but
Be
you
a
get the
boss.
idea.
Yeah, but it would be nice to have a finished Hossen,
Oh no, of
or
course.
not have garbage bases, and
So,
that
yeah.
would be objectively good. to
So
have better
yeah,
performance.
exactly.
Be
My
objectively
suggestion to
good.
the devs, which I've been really saying, hey, do this if you really want. Do small things like change up some bases layouts. That can take a few minutes,
Construction
really.
sites.
Exactly. Well,
We
just
have
copy
all
and
seen
paste some
that.
bases around,
Exactly.
and then it's really easy. You can spend an hour. I bet Cardo can do it now. Copy paste some bases on the map.
Look at Cardo's map editing streams. Really
Yeah.
doesn't seem too hard to make a base. Like, that's not a construction site, to be perfectly honest.
And it doesn't have to be well balanced or anything. Just put a new base on the map. People are like, oh, content, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like,
And there
actually,
is a lot of good argument for doing that.
yeah, it would be nice to see that, because that's something that people have been whining about since the game released. And maybe just go into that direction, maybe like once, give us some new base. That would be nice.
I think that what you saw on the dev streams by, for example, Cardo, is that he's reusing a lot of assets, so it's easy to create new looking things with the same old things, but then
I mean,
readjust
look
it
how
to
fast
end.
they made installation.
Yeah,
Okay.
but Desolation
The
is
Desolation
also
map, man. Yikers.
pretty empty.
Yikes. Yeah, but they could have made 1 or 2 bases in that time.
Yeah, maybe.
They put a lot of time styling the physical layout, and then
Base
4
layout.
crescent shapes.
Hell yeah.
Talking about Desolation, by the way,
Let's
I
talk
think
about it.
today or yesterday the preseason started. And is the Winter Gaming team going to sign up, or is GSLD going to sign up for the Outfit Wars?
Sign up.
For Winter Gaming side, we haven't actually really talked about it. So I'll have to get back to you on that one a little bit later.
I
think
think Winter
that's-
talked about it on stream last night a little bit, but
Okay.
yeah.
Can you have
they're
outfit
gonna-
alliances now, by the way?
No.
They're not doing it for
Not
preseason, but they will be doing it
yeah.
for season 1. Well,
But-
they're considering it for
Okay.
season 1. They want to test
Okay.
it out.
According to Kilroy, Winter
Okay.
Gaming Squad already signed up. But I do think that's one of the issues right now, that many people don't really understand how it works and where it is and what is the Outfit Wars. So it's really cool, I think, that they made this whole new continent. But if people don't know about it and they don't see it, then well, it's a bit of.
But for example, you say it's nice, right? I say why 1v1v1.
you think that's
It's
the
the
way
Planetside
competitive
experience,
Let's
is that?
talk about it. Why?
You lose that Planetside feel, though, if you lose that faction, quote-unquote, loyalty.
I don't lose the Planetside feel if I don't get double teamed. To be perfectly honest.
I think the
It depends.
thought
It
process-
depends on the skill of the players. If you have skilled leaders playing in Outfit Wars, you're not going to see it. You're not going to see double teaming as much. But if you have
You
just
say no.
Zerg fits, such as GSLD, go in there and they're not trained.
Well,
I'm just using GSLD as an example, but we're definitely not. We definitely
but
have
who
leaders.
else is gonna join Outfit Wars than the Zergfits? Like, who else
Yeah.
can? Like,
Which-
you need you would, with T, you have like a accumulation of like all the midfits, like almost, like I would say 50% of the midfits on Cobalt, so that just that they can play it, and that's one team out of all of them. So it's geared towards not leaderless outfits, but less coordinated outfits, because it's larger
Just
scale.
larger outfits that can cap bases on during off hours.
Exactly.
You'll have outfits like B-Way on Emerald just log off after ops, and they won't cap another base for the night, but SKL will just have a few guys, log in, have a base, log out.
You guys, I've seen SKL drop platoons on ghost caps and stay there for the entire duration.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can work in the Desolation.
It's impressive. I'm not gonna lie. As much as I make fun of him for it, it's actually rather impressive, and I wish our outfit was capable of that.
Wait.
Capping.
Of ghost capping with platoons?
Yeah, it's very. It
Do
can
you
be a little
mean
bit
bringing
difficult
that
to
many
keep.
people, or ghost
Yes.
capping with a platoon? Okay, thank you
I've
very
been
much.
bringing that many people.
Okay, I already thought.
Dude, I was like, if that's the goal right now, wow. If that's the
Setting
bar we're looking
setting
at,
the bar
oh, man.
real low. No, being able to bring that many people consistently.
I mean,
That
how
makes
did
sense.
they
It's a
do
work
it?
in progress. I mean, there's a reason it's called Sokar's Legion.
Next topic, Faber, please. Big
Yeah, sure.
moderate.
Before we go into the Zerg fit on Emerald. Yeah, we've got
Outfit
It's all fun though. Like it's all good people. Like there's not a lot of hostility between things here, which is nice.
Like for the big platoon people. Like, are you actually like very interested in playing the Outfit Wars like format, or is it like does it not really bother you? Like, are you actually hyped for it, or
As in
is
the
it just
1v1v1?
like some side objective? No, just in general. Like, do you like that they are trying to introduce something more, what they call competitive? Like, do you even want that?
So what I said is I wanted 3 different brackets. I wanted a 96v96v96 bracket, a 24v24, and a 12v12 bracket, or a 6v6 bracket.
Man, you make too much sense for that dev team.
It's like, yeah, have 3 different brackets for 3 different size outfits, and then you can have the Zerg fits compete against Zerg fits, and they will have fun, right? You'll have mid fits compete against mid fits, and you'll have lead fits compete against lead fits, right? And that makes it fun, and you don't have, personally.
My point is that it does not attract the like. It sounds ultra cringe, like the competitive people.
Mhm.
It doesn't attract them because it's too far away from what we are used to, and I feel like it's not really grabbing the attention of your normal Planetside player who just likes Planetside because it is too different.
Yeah, you have the server smash format, you have the PIL format, you have the lane smash formats.
It's kind of
look at them
in between,
used.
and it doesn't really
Exactly.
catch anyone, in my opinion.
There's a reason why those formats are made the way they are, right?
Yeah.
Well,
kind of.
The good news is, of course, we still have the Planetside Battles team. We still have all the other organizers of those community tournaments.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't even compare it to it, but it's just like kind of weird to me where they placed it numbers wise and mechanics wise.
Yeah, it feels distant.
Yeah.
fair enough.
I can see that. I can really only say from at least my side, we haven't really talked about it much, and as a relatively larger outfit, it just didn't immediately jump into our line
It's
of
not
sight.
like your
of things
main
that's
goal
important.
to win Outfit Wars, right? You just want to
Right.
play Planetside, correct?
My outfit's goal is to win Planet.
That's where I want to come to. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a little bit of a difference between WNTG and GSLD. WNTG is much more casual. We are filled almost entirely with new players. Like as you may know, WNTG is it's revolving around Winter Gaming, the streamer. It's literally a streamer that said, "I want to play Planetside. All of you guys in Twitch chat, come over here and come play with me." So it's literally, when we say new players, we mean players who are so new that they just installed the game and don't even usually play first-person shooters. It's for non-first-person shooter players just installing the game, just getting into Planetside. So when we see Outfit Wars, we're like, okay, this is competitive. Maybe not something that we should be jumping into right now.
Okay. So see, that's my point. It's too not Planetside for some people, and it's not towards the competitive side enough for the rest of the people because there's a very large gap in between, and it's in that gap. It's pretty weird.
Pretty much the only outfit that really is situated to play Outfit Wars is GSLD, right? In my opinion.
Yeah, outfits like large kind of coordinated outfits.
Yeah.
Or large, let's just call them large coordinated outfits with a large amount of comparably experienced people.
And also that want to take it somewhat seriously because, I mean, you guys want to get your own banner, right? In the Sanctuary. That's the main goal.
So I will say this. I would love to see AODR versus SKL versus VCO.
Do you think will be fun to watch?
Looks like live server.
Dude, it's gonna be people already.
Exactly. It's just gonna be like live servers, except with the spectator cams, and we could watch the chaos from above, where we don't have to be part of it.
Dude, it's like, all right, and they're all still sitting in the warp gate in the galaxies trying to load up. All right, and 10 minutes later, all right, they all die, so they're back at the warp gate loading up. Okay, all right. Let's see what's up.
We will see, I guess. But yeah, that was my point regarding Outfit Wars. It's kind of it doesn't have a target.
I think you have a great point there.
Outfits like 1TR that are fun to play against aren't fun to watch either, though. Because they'll redeploy
Imagine,
side crazy, but you don't. This Planetside isn't a spectator sport and competitive
No.
level.
No, it isn't.
like I can tell you, if they geared it more towards like what the formats that we have, people would be ultra hyped, because that's basically what the few hundred people who enjoy that have been waiting for years, like to actually have a proper 12v12 ladder team ladder, you know. But it's not that, and it also doesn't really do anything for the circuits, so it's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, for anyone watching
And
right now,
hope.
the preseason has started for the Outfit Wars. So if you want to sign up, go ahead. It's free. Like Planetside 2, by the way. The next topic on our list right now is a bit more in-depth state-of-the-air gameplay. And
Oh god, I
I'm
get
not
this
a
question
pilot.
a
this is your
lot.
topic, in Curse, that's right.
I get this question a lot, and I always feel bad about talking about it. And I usually try to just completely avoid it. The reality, there's a lot that goes into it. It's like an entire can of worms, except the can just keeps, it's just like an infinite can. It just keeps going down. It just doesn't stop. So I try to be very careful about talking about this topic.
Very
It's,
toxic pilot as well. Watch out.
Well, toxicity is one thing. I mean, you can't really take that into account when talking about the state of things most of the time. There's always going to be toxicity, and the fewer players there are, usually the more rampant the toxicity is. At least has the opportunity to be. So it's not really something you can put into the state of the year game. But before I start going off on a rant, I want to ask you guys, like Rapid Relief, you're from GSLD, you very commonly fields aircraft, and I know you guys do particularly well in the Bastion polls. How do you feel about the state of the year game as it is at the moment?
The state of the air game's issue is a lack of information and tutorials. The fact of the matter is people don't know how to get into hover mode, so they don't know how to duel, and so they just fly by each other, and it gets kind of boring. And the gap is learn to hover, and once you learn to hover, then you actually can dogfight, and that changes the air game a lot. If to improve the air game, they were to do something, it would be a way to get people to learn. I don't know if there was a way to get people to learn how to hover. I think the biggest mistake they did is by giving people rotary and Racer 1 ESS pretty much, right? So people are just, going at people. They're not hovering. They're not dueling. They're just running at people.
Like battlefield jets.
Exactly,
That's what
right.
you see all the time. And then I feel like there's a massive skill gap between like a new pilot and a kind of experienced pilot, even more than infantry, because infantry you can always just kill someone, right? Even if you're not that great, you will kill people that are better than you. But let's say you are in a 1v1 against a pilot that's considerably better than you, he will always kill you in Planetside. He will always shred you. At least from what I see all the time.
I gotta
Yes,
say,
and
though, the
like
skill
the
gap is not
YCP.
only available in Planetside 2, also in Battlefield you see the same, and also in any dogfight game, basically.
Any
I mean,
long
that
time
overarching in the video game industry, dogfighting or these aircraft are particularly difficult. There's always a skill gap there, more so than infantry. Infantry, the time to kill can be super fast. The difference between a good player and a bad player is a half a second, maybe. And
always also everyone kind of knows how to play infantry because you've played other shooters, but you've definitely not played air like in Planetside, correct? When you start playing air in Planetside, it's completely new. There's nothing you can compare.
And the lack of engagements, right? You dogfight much less than you 1v1 people in Planetside as infantry.
Yeah, as well. It takes a lot longer to learn.
So you learn slower because you don't have as much, practice.
Yep.
So from what I usually say about this about the state of the air game is that there's two major aspects that keeps people out of the air, or at least deters them from the air, or causes it to die. And I want to say first that there is a kind of downward spiral where the fewer pilots there are, the less active the air game, the harder it is to get into it, the harder it is to stay in it. So there's that kind of doubling down style effect where the worse it is, the worse it gets because the worse it is. So there's two main factors that causing significant issues to aircraft. The first is the barrier to entry. If you go to other aircraft games, even Elite Dangerous has, which is notoriously difficult, has means of getting you up to speed, means of getting you onto the field, means of getting you active. Planetside really doesn't have that. There's no intro tutorial. There's nothing that can really get you up into the air, have you be useful. There's no fun to gather once you pull your first ESF. Flying a Valkyrie or a Galaxy really doesn't translate over to flying an ESF much at all. So there's no real practice other than getting out in the field and dying terribly. And the only way to do that is to...
And you're also not making any certs if you do that. You're not making anything if you just pull your like if you're playing infantry, right? You will always get certs. But if you're just trying to fly, you're not going to kill anything, and you're not going to get assists, and you're not going to cap anything. So where you don't have cert gain to cert your plane, it's this spiral, yeah.
Right, but there is that spiral, but more importantly, it's difficult to get started. How many other games do you have where you're locked to roll being on your mouse? That's something that's not normal for people. When people think, I want to look to the side, I move my mouse a few centimeters to the side, and it goes that way. That's not how ESFs work. For better or worse, I think at the highest level, having roll on mouse is better. For your player who just wants to get into the air, shoot a few bullets, and at least attempt to fly, that is a terrible experience. You have first-person shooter players. You have people just trying to play Planetside thinking, oh, maybe I should try pulling an ESF, and then can't even look in a direction they want to go because the control scheme is different from what they're capable of understanding without spending dozens of hours reprogramming the brain. It's not something that you can get into, and that's a very serious problem. Sure, there's actually lots of tutorials online about all the things you need to do for practice, but it's not in-game, and in-game does not offer any way of learning.
But that's it. Would you change the control scheme just to attract more people? Because that would obviously drag away all of the people already flying, but that's not a lot of people. So
but you don't have to change the control scheme. You just leave an option to put it there. How many people aren't interested in becoming a Sky Knight and just want to get from point A to point B, or will never fly outside of their outfit pulling a Bastion?
Just different
Give
control
people
schemes.
the
That actually
option
sounds
to
like
get
a great
into
idea.
that would be
sounds like a good idea.
Make it more accessible to people. That's one of the biggest issues. It is not available to people. Currently, the way aircraft are designed, or at least ESF specifically, it's designed specifically to be usable by those who want to spend 200 hours in VR training practicing maneuverings. You want to spend another 300 hours dueling at the warp gate. Outside of that, that is the only audience in which ESFs are currently targeting. Outside of that, it's very, very difficult to get people into it.
You have to do the same thing for infantry, though. You have to, go into VR training, go to the boss spot, shoot those 5 dummies, go one clip, practice stuff like that, curriculum control. Same thing, but it's just in a different medium.
But you can have fun before that.
The difference is with that, you can participate meaningfully without having to do that. In an ESF, most people literally cannot get from point A to point B without having first gone into VR training. How many times have you had people, you're in a large outfit, how many times have you had someone say, hey, you pull a Galaxy so we can get to this location, and they just didn't make it there alive?
I have a good example. I know people with 4K hours and they can't land a Mozzie.
It's the kind of normal behavior you'd expect from these things. If you get a new player and you say, hey, brand new to Planetside, maybe you shouldn't play Heavy Assault. You know what? You should play Medic so that you can get accustomed to the environment. Just see what's happening, see how the shooting works, see all the different classes.
Around you.
You have your teammates around you. They'll keep you alive. You just hold that right-click button. People can do that without having to go into training and teach them what right-click is. When we go to flight trainings, when we do videos and such, teaching people what the controls are is a significant and very important part of the training. This is something that you do not get without having someone teach it to you or sitting down and doing 30 minutes to an hour of research outside of game when flying ESS.
That's a good point. That sums up Planetside in general.
And that's just the first section of the problem with aircraft. The second, I would say, is that it's just not fun, specifically in the interactions between air and ground. It's not fun for either side. If you go onto any source of forum or feedback, it's just inundated with forum posts saying, "Oh my god, I died to A to G and all this and all that, and every time I pulled my specialized vehicle to go shoot down the aircraft and it just flew off and I couldn't get the kill. It's so unsatisfying."
That's the Planetside vehicle conundrum. In Planetside, in order for anything to matter to the infantry, it needs to be very annoying for the infantry. Otherwise, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't get 400 kills in a Bastion, if you got 50 kills in a Bastion in 1 hour or like 10, then no one would really bother with it. Stuff needs to be strong and against infantry in order to matter, or in order to get that kind of attention.
And that's the point of Planetside, right?
But
It's combined arms, and you gotta pull something counters, man. You gotta pull a counter if you want to deal with it. You can't just hope that the Banshee ESF is going to go away. Go to the spawn room, pull out your Lancer, shoot it down, and then continue with your day.
So that's one of the big problems there. Anti-air, as it is designed, is more of a deterrent than anything else. If I were to go pull a ground lock, which most people have, it's not ever gonna kill the ESF. You could pull 2 ground locks. I don't know how much footage on live stream of me just sitting in front of the spawn, just waiting for people to dare to pull a ground lock and just be like, "Oh, please, I have a Banshee, come feed me your rockets in my cockpit so I can see where you are." Because ground locks are not a threat to aircraft until you hit that critical point of 4 of them, at which points they are an insta-kill. There is no fun in that interaction. From the ground side of things, it's I'm sitting here with a useless weapon that can't do anything other than maybe chase him off where he can just land on the other side of a tree and repair.
Anyways, yeah, I'm
not going to kill him anyways. And the only thing that's going to happen is I'm going to get killed for it. Or I get all together. It's like, all right, there's this one guy hovering around the base. I need to get 4 of my friends, and we're just going to wait. We're going to go 3, 2, 1. I'll pop out with rocket launchers, and we're going to kill him.
But if you did that, then you would only
4
do that
guys
all
off the
day.
fight. Yeah, you have to do that all day because I can repoll.
You're not the
you're
only
doing
Banshee.
4 to 1 at that point. So at that point, it's usually safe to assume there's more than just one guy there doing that, and that puts it not at a good advantage for the people on the ground. And the air pilot, as the aircraft side of things, it's easy. It's in terms of numbers, it's trivial to deal with these ground until it suddenly isn't, and then I'm permanently denied space of that range. And for me, it's just like, okay, well, I'm in the air, I'm having a kind of an easy non-fight going around, just farming, pressing a button, and then suddenly, well, I have this 500-meter radius around this hex where I just can't go in that airspace.
Yeah, I guess.
God forbid it's a burster max or a lightning, which can hit out further to 1.5 kilometers. That's a significant chunk of the continent that you just can't fly in because there's 4 sky guards there.
That guy's not having fun either.
It's
Burster Max, they're
looking at the
useless.
sky.
You can one-clip the Burster Max with a Banshee. And
oh no, I love doing that.
Sky guards are also very useless.
That's one thing people don't remember is that ESFs aren't just aircraft. They can be specialized just like any other vehicle. Just like you have a Lightning that can specialize versus infantry, but becomes not good versus tanks. So it's just like you have a Lightning that can specialize versus tanks and then becomes not good versus
way
infantry.
more because you have 2 weapon slots.
When it comes to ESF, the same thing happens. If you're pulling a Burster Max and I'm specialized versus infantry, you just made yourself more vulnerable to the ESF. And that pisses people off, but though that one is a slightly different problem because that's just people not understanding how aircraft work as opposed to an inherent balance.
Would you separate air and ground more and then actually give air an objective that matters to most people so that you have less interaction between both, but both matter more?
It won't work in Planetside.
Yeah, that's my.
I don't think that
That's
would
why
work.
construction bases never worked out for armor.
Yes.
construction bases, really.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think that would work.
If you have
From
convent
what,
nanites, it won't work. Yeah.
specifically on the topic of air to ground interactions, the fun interactions come from weapons like AP lightnings or AP tank rounds of any kind, Daltons from aircraft,
Heck yeah.
Lancers, Strikers to a degree. NC is kind of screwed on that front.
I know,
but,
right? I hate it. I'm not gonna Phoenix you down.
Yeah, no. It's just I understand NC and the anti-air department is just kind of sad. But from the other factions, the effective anti-air is like the number one most effective anti-air is not Sky Guards, it's not Burster Maxes, it's AP tanks. The second most effective anti-air is Lancers and Strikers, somewhat the same level. As an aircraft, I dislike fighting those, but I understand what they are, and I understand how to avoid them, and it turns into a game of avoiding them. Versus Strikers, I just have to be like, I just have to fly knowing that, say, hey, there could be heavy assaults in this spot at any time. If I am caught out of position,
But
I
it's
could get
everywhere.
immediately blown up. Well, no, because I could back off to 400 meters, and then I don't get melted. But
Yeah.
I'm still within render range. I can still shoot at them. They can still see me. I'm not going to get melted by a striker at 400 meters. I mean, those are pretty slow firing rockets. They don't fire particularly quickly. The projectile velocity isn't fast. I can dodge at 400 meter, kind of dodge. I mean, they do have the heat-seeking thing. Lancers are a little bit more difficult, but they are super short range. Like, if you're not getting hit by the thing outside of 200 meters, I have to get greedy and get in close to get rid of heavy assaults that are holding Lancers. But if I do that and I get punished for it, that's 3/4 of my HP instantly gone. So
Yeah,
that is a
Lancers,
much...
end of fight. GG ESF.
Yes, and that's what it is. And it's a much more interesting, much more fun interaction than ground lock. You have 3 of them, I kill all 3 heavy assaults. You have 4 of them, I insta-die.
It's complete skill-less area denial, yeah. Just like a button.
Right.
Lock-ons. Yeah. Anything fundamentally wrong with air? I don't know. I don't think so.
NC needs an air counter. That's not the Phoenix. Oh god.
Phoenix.
Pretty funny. You guys are really passionate, especially curious about air gameplay. And for me, I am not really good at it at all. So it's a complete different game to me when you talk about it. Because if you want to, you can just completely ignore airplay as an infantry player. So yeah, it's, for me, if I hear these things, I want to pick up ESFs again and try to play. But then again, also as a non-member, you can only, I think, pull 1 ESF. And then if you die, and I die quite easily on the non-training, what is it? On the in the VR, you can play as much as you want, but if you play in a normal game, you have the nanites, and you can only pull 1. Then you need to wait again. And I don't know. I don't know if many of you guys want to play in the VR room for a long time.
No.
They gotta make it more
doesn't
fun
really
for
help.
the VR. If they put VR into Sanctuary, so here's a really big suggestion to Sanctuary, and it's gonna sound really dumb if you don't listen to it fully. So here's what they need to do. I know, right? So they take Cold Tier and they invert it, and then they put Sanctuary in the center. So Sanctuary has 3 warp gates, all bubbles, and then around it is a ring of bases. So once you exit the quote-unquote Sanctuary warp gate, you can use your guns and stuff. And people can still go to these bases. You can have this Cold Tier for practicing stuff like that. Because I know a lot of Zergfits like to do trainings on there. I do all my trainings at Jaeger, but they like other Zergfits that don't have knowledge of Jaeger or really don't want to get their players on it. Because it's tough to get people that are still even log into the launcher and hop onto your TeamSpeak server, I think.
Yeah.
So
to get accounts.
So yeah, I think they do need to reintroduce Cold Tier, introduce a 1v1 arena in Sanctuary as well.
Hell yeah, 1v1 arena.
Then they already had the models for it. You take the what's it called? Genuine holographics. You take those bases, those 3 points. You make them 1v1 rooms and call it a day.
Just put in one building, or just like one corridor. That would be a very cool idea to have 1v1 area. Yeah, I support that idea. I also support the idea of having game modes that's a bit more drastic, but that would pull from the main game, and we didn't have enough players, and they maybe if they have more players, they're going to think about it. Yeah.
Oh, players we have enough if you see the login queues right now.
Yeah, but they won't stay, so.
No, we will see how long the player population will be like this.
Wanna bet?
They will always stay if you have them join your group, join a community. That's the only reason they'll stay. That's the reason why we're bloated right now, is because we're trying to keep these people playing. That's why we're doing all this Zergy stuff, Zerg airballs, Zerg stuff, because that's how you get people part of the community, Casual.
Also, if you want to stay and want to know more about the game, well, there is something new that just launched yesterday. And
actually.
Function.
I think Mr. Rabbit can talk a bit more about the planetsidegydes.com.
Yep. So it's a website, planetsideguide.com, or planetside.guide also takes you there. If you haven't checked it out, please do. Give us your opinions. Actually, of how it looks, like really nice and stuff. Because right now we're just trying to fill it up with guides. We need people to join and just type stuff up. We need people that are grunts too, writing stuff up. It's tough getting a lot of people to write about things. Because the game is really deep. It's really tough, but I really want to have people a guide, because ever since Iridar went down permanently, it's tough to find information. It's tough to find more and more guides out there. And so right now I'm working about doing wall jumps, recording a third-person ops cam perspective and a first-person cam perspective of all the wall jumps. I'm also Conflict's working on all the aim guide stuff right now. And then Stroff is doing some the air stuff right now, and then I got Delta doing the armor stuff right now. Shades is doing a bit of the point holding stuff. So, but again, more hands on deck, because I don't want people to get burnt out. I want more people to help and stuff like that. So part.
When did you implement the dark mode? That is so clever.
Yeah. It does it based on your your operating system. So if your operating system is light mode, it'll go light mode, or dark mode if it's dark mode. But we just added the button today.
It doesn't work 100% yet, but well,
it's a good resource.
Crazy.
I guess it's like Iridar's website mostly.
Yeah, we're trying to do what Iridar did, but without as much biased content, and making more laid out. It's because with Iridar it was tough to find information, and there was a lot of things which said yes or no to things, and I want to let people still explore the game and just explain to them things and mechanics, and let them make
like this project is that you guys work together, whereas Iridar was really one guy doing all the work, and you see that after a while he burned out, he got lost interest in the whole project, and decided it was gone.
After many years.
Yeah, I know. That's maybe a bit. Of course, he did a lot of great work for the community, and I think we will never say enough thanks to him. But it was gone after a while, and nobody could find it. And then people made copies of it. But I think the nice thing about this is a community-driven thing and not a person-driven thing. But
yeah, I've been really trying to, because I'm not the person doing all. I'm only doing some of the work, right?
Yeah,
I'm a project manager, and I'm trying to have people be like, "Yo, please don't look at me. It's a community thing." So I want it to become, in a sense, self-running. Like I'll push it in a certain direction, but I also want people just to contribute and help out. Because how many times have you explained to a new player, some information, and you're repeating yourself day after day, stuff like that. And
there is a lot of information out there. It's just not centralized anywhere. It's very hard to find.
Yeah, I agree. Since that's why I've reached out to Halo with his infantry guys. I'm like, hey, can I use these? He's like, yeah, you can go for it. Conflict with his infantry guys. He's like, yeah, use them.
Mm-hmm.
Shades with his stuff like that. And everyone has their little blurbs that they've posted and stuff like that. So combining them will eventually make a pretty good guide, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Combining different perspectives, and people, yeah, people will argue, but eventually the things will shake out and people will agree on something. And those things that I agree with will probably be pretty good things, I think.
They should feature you on the launcher once it's finished.
Yeah, I already
Because
Justin said they will.
it should be like basically like a semi-official source
Yeah.
for Planetside guides. Like the wiki is supposed to be, but it isn't.
Yeah, Justin's in the Discord for the Planetside guide. If anyone wants to join that Discord, let me drop the link. But yeah, like they like Justin DM'd me. He said, "Yeah, I'll add it to the launcher when you guys want us to." So
That's nice.
PogChamp.
Pog champion.
That's again one of the things I like about the new direction Rogue Planet is going. They feature so much more community content, and well, what is better than offering free content? Like, yeah.
I'm so excited that there's hype about the new content, that the new content is actually coming, that things are being fixed, bugs are being talked about, and then being responded to and being fixed, and I'm happy. It's like having an active dev team.
It was
like
so
it's not
nice to
dead
see
anymore.
them actually acknowledge the bugs, yeah, on the Reddit pages and stuff, and having Andy Sides, I think the project lead, being so open. That's such a change. Again, not saying that for Nick Silva and Relon in the past were bad, but it's different.
It is very different, and it's different in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can look up the analytics for the website. I don't think I can show these, but let's see.
Yesterday was the first day of going live, or?
Yeah, yesterday was when we did like sent out links and said, "Hey, come check it out if you'd like." I think we've had 2,000 page views, 2,500 page views so far. On average, people go to 5 pages per session, so that's pretty decent.
It's a good start.
And yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
about
great.
20% of people return to the site, and that's just
guys, if the devs don't fix the new player experience, you have to do it on your own,
And there's only so much they can do, right? Like, because people like wall jumps, they're not going to explain that in game, right? So that's why I'm like, hey, let's go over wall jumps, let's go over callouts. Rhett right now is doing so he's extracting all the files, he's adding color models, and they're going to be rotatable models. There'll be 3D rotatable models of the buildings, which are going to be really nice. And there was also going to be static images as well, so don't worry.
And if people want to get involved, they can just send you a message, DM on
I
Twitch.
put the Discord link in the chat just now.
Great.
Yeah, because it's like I like the idea of having, it's more having it more curated. Like, okay, people DM me, so I know that they want to get involved. But also, if I add that extra barrier to entry, I get less people involved, and I'd rather have a few extra grunts than have less people.
Okay. We're now getting into the end of the podcast, and we're going to get into the final question part. But a question from Murderface. What's the one change you guys would do to fix air game for new players in your opinion? You already talked about this topic, you can ignore it. Did we talk about a new change for new players?
Not specifically in the context of new players, but I would have to give the same response I gave for the first, probably biggest problem to aircraft, and that is the barrier to entry. Sure, it's not particularly lucrative in terms of certs and such, so I wouldn't really want to change all that, but I would say just the control options. Give new players the option to use yaw on mouse, so they can at least use aircraft to get up into the air. So when they pull from a bastion, they don't crash into their friend or the bastion trying to take off. They can at least get their gun on target. They may not be particularly good, but we're already at a point where we're not expecting new players to load off the bastion and instantly go into hover mode. They're gonna just get onto the air. We're expecting them to not make it. We had our outfit ops where we had 2 platoons, and at any point we had 20 to 30 extra people sitting in the bastion that didn't want to pull just because they were tired of crashing into themselves or the bastion on the aircraft. Just make it easier to fly the aircraft. No, they're not doing it on purpose. That's just new players being physically incapable of
Pressing S.
moving the aircraft. They do not understand, even if they know what buttons to press, their brain, it doesn't work. They're saying, hey, I'm an infantry person. I want to look left. And suddenly they're flying left partially backwards, or something has gone wrong because they're rolling instead of yawing. If a new player comes in and has to reteach their brain how the mouse works, things don't work very well. And that's one of the biggest barriers of entry to flight. If a person comes in and then says, I want to actually learn how to fly well, let me sit down, change my controls to put mouse roll back the way it used to be, then they're the kind of person that can actually get good at flying. If they just want to make it from point A to point B, if they just want to get their nose gun on target for a few seconds, absolutely, just let them have mouse yaw.
Okay.
Personally, if I had to bring a change in, it would be a 1v1 arenas or rooms. Because it's incredibly tough to practice and train someone. If I have to, get them to log into the launcher, go to my account block, copy paste them a Jaeger account, toss it to them, explain them what the rules of Jaeger, get them onto Jaeger, and then find a base, pull up Sundays, and then by that point, with a new player, I've wasted 30 minutes, right, already, of their time and my time.
I
1v1
love that
rooms
idea.
about loading into Sanctuary and just, putting someone in a squad with you, pressing E on a terminal, you guys get into a room, which would be nice. And then you could have people train ESFs as well, right? Also, maybe adding a spectator format. For
It
people.
would be amazing. You could do so much with that. You can use it for new players, and you can use it for the experienced people, because they can do a lot of stuff with a controlled 1v1 environment as well. So
I love that idea.
And then you can finally host quote unquote private trainings without having going to Jaeger, right? You could
host a tournament for pilots.
You have your whole platoon. The platoon lead presses E on the terminal. His whole platoon gets into gets loaded into a private environment. It works really well, in my opinion. And they have separate environments already that you can do that, because once you hit a pop cap on culture, your Sanctuary, it will spawn another Sanctuary, if you know that. So they have the ability. They just need to have implementation of it, I think, and put down the effort.
Would be amazing, but I would also just add that for infantry as well, and for vehicles as well. Like, have training environments like pop.
Because it would be so much more fun to do 1v1s while I'm sitting in queue, bro. Come on.
It would be, yeah.
When I'm sitting in a 50-man queue for all 4 of the continents on Emerald, there's a 50-man queue. I'm like, okay, please.
This weekend was nuts.
Yeah. Imagine you could host your own room in Planetside. Amazing.
Yeah. I know it's probably against their idea of what they see as Planetside being the big game, the massive environment, the massive scale. They want everyone on the continent battling it out. But again, if you want to improve the player base and have people play the game longer, they're going to want to have linear progression. And if you want to have them improve and continue that linear progression, you need to have a way for them to be taught by people much, much easier.
And Curses, do you think that's going to destroy the game?
No.
Right.
Okay. It would be, from a technical perspective, I think it'd be a little bit difficult to do, but
would be great.
Cold Tier was, I think, the closest thing that they would be able to do to that kind of thing.
Well, they kind of showed with Planetside Arena that they are capable with the engine to also run the smallest formats. They tried Capture the Flag with, I think, 15v15 or something like that. They can do.
That requires an entire server infrastructure. That's...
Okay,
they want to do it.
They already spawned new cold
that's going into speculation.
They already spawned new cold tiers after 48 people. If there's a platoon on cold tier, a new cold tier spawns, right? If you remember.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's going into speculation that I really don't have information about.
So, if they already had a system in place to do it, I'd rather just hit E on a terminal and do it all manually.
Heck yeah.
Fair enough. The second question coming from Anjita. Would you guys say getting an additional continent would be a good idea? And for example, they were talking about Osha a while ago, but Osha has been cancelled for the coming time. Nikki says
I agree
no.
with Nikki.
No,
because Nikki brought this up earlier.
We have
exactly.
Like, I don't just want more. We don't want more shit bases. We want more good bases. Like you have an unfinished continent. All of the continents are unfinished. You have garbage bases, literally like the offal pit, or like I can just list a massive list of complete garbage bases. Even if there's a nice 50-50 there, it's just you're in this fucking swamp and dying from everywhere. It's just trash.
Yeah,
You have
I'm
places like
with
the
Nicky on that one.
that are really fun, that are on the edge of the map. Can you just devs? Can you do me a favor, just invert the continent so you have all these cool bases next to the warp gates? Put them in the middle. I'm like, yes, Nason's great, but what about the rest of the bases, man? Like, there's some bases that need some love too.
Definitely.
I would love to see the
First step
bases.
before a new continent.
I would love to see them test out putting the blue or even purple resource on the bases adjacent to the warp gate.
They should put purples there.
Just
Actually,
to
no.
see.
Here's the reason why, though. Because warp gating a faction kills the faction's population massively. If you've looked at Connery when TR got warp gated for a week, if you look at Emerald when NC and TR were getting warp gated more often, you saw the pops drop heavily, and those players never came back.
You're right.
That's why I agree.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Yeah, you're right on that one. I had forgotten
If you
about
get
that.
warp gated, you don't get to play Planetside because you get to sit in your warp gate, right?
Yeah,
Drive up a
and
bus
people end
to-
up going over to other factions or other continents.
Or they just log out for the night, man. It's the same thing
Or
as
that.
bad performance. You just log and you say, screw it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then another question coming from Ground Gamer, and he says, or he asks, well, what was up with the devs removing ICO and certs from alert rewards and then backpedaling on that decision? What was their motivation? A lot of people depend
Was that
on the
intentional?
ICO supply. No, I actually think
that was
this
a
was a
bug.
bug.
Yeah, that
bug.
was a bug that wasn't purposeful. What the
Bastion
devs
answer.
said in response to that was that they are intending to phase them out in future updates with the new system, so that you do not need to obtain ISO and alert rewards. However, that change snuck into the build, and it was not intentional.
I mean, if they want to get rid of, for example, the implant system, that is going to be interesting. How are they going to solve it, and what will be their monetary change, basically? Because the whole new content update is, I don't think much has been.
Well, they
Just
didn't say they were going to get rid of implants. They said they were changing the way you earn things,
Okay,
and
that's
so I suspect it's moving towards Sanctuary or a Sanctuary style. I don't want to speculate too much. Obviously, I don't have information on the matter.
yeah. Also, are they going to give us a refund for no loss rewards on the venue?
Yeah, so what they're going to do with Vanu is they're going to just disable you guys for a week, and then they're going to have a good night.
No.
That would actually be pretty fun. Just disable
No,
one faction
no.
for a week.
Please.
See it, how it would happen.
just to see what would happen if it's if it's just a tug
Okay,
of war
then
instead
people
of
can
a
go
three-way.
play Battlefield, man. Okay, I don't. Planetside
just
is
wanna see
that
the world
1v1v1
burn.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're out of questions right now. Do you guys have any final words? Incursus, you first.
Oh god, me first. I have so many things to say. I don't actually have that many things to say. I think in all reality, I'm going to talk about the air again because it's what I do. I know. I'm sorry. There's so many topics. I think the reality when it comes to talking about air is that there's no amount of time I could spend here to cover everything. There's always another layer to it. There's always something else. And it's a problem. It's a blessing and a problem. It's deep in that there's a lot I can go into, but it's so deep in that the problems run just as deep. And there's many things that would need to be fixed in order to bring it into a healthier air game. I'm concerned, especially for a lot of the new players that are coming into a lot of these outfits. They're saying, hey, we want to come play with a lot of these bastions. Let's get into an aircraft. Oh, look, I can pull free aircraft, and I have a lot of friends around me. It's a great place to do it. And then they have a terrible experience because they're waiting in queues to pull their interceptor ESFs out of the Bastion, and then they have a panic attack because the buttons don't work the way they want them to. Then at best case scenario, they get shot down. Usually, it was just, like, statistically at this point, like, the ground kills them more than anything else. It's not a great experience. I'm worried that it's going to cause new players to not want to play the game. Before the Bastion update, players that would come in for aircraft, because I get a lot of requests to help people get into Planetside, especially pilots. There'll be times where I'd have, 500 players come in over the course of a couple months, and maybe 20 of them stayed around just because of how unenjoyable it is to fly in Planetside. I worry that same kind of thing is going to happen for the new players that have come in for the hype.
We'll see.
So I'm hoping things change for the best.
That's awesome. If you ever want to talk more about air gameplay, just ask. You're always welcome, of course.
Just ask any pilot; they will talk about it for you for hours.
Endlessly. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Big discussion topics. If you anything to share, Nikki, by the way, any final words?
I would say, and I think that the update did what it was supposed to do. It brought a lot of people back, and it seemed to have brought in a lot of new players. And I think what they should focus on now, and what the community would really appreciate, especially the people who have already played Planetside for a long time, instead of just making a game that's more deep and more broad and has more features and has more mechanics, I think they should focus on actually making the game better. That means improving performance, improving server performance,
improving
UI, giving people more choice, and improving the base design. It's very simple, but it improves the game a lot, in my opinion, rather than just adding on more and more and more and more features. Because this, again, also doesn't make it easier for the new player to enjoy this.
But you're talking about really foundational changes, like
it's not changes, it's improvements.
Yeah, but improve. So let's say
improvements are always changes.
Would have been 10% better. The FPS would have been 10% higher. Would have been enough for you, or are we talking about?
It's better than nothing.
Yeah, okay, but would it be enough?
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to gauge that. Yeah, I would say it would have to be a significant change. Otherwise, it's not worth it. That's probably why they are not doing it, because they don't even have the devs anymore that are probably capable of working with the engine and improving the engine on that level. But it would be very appreciated, I think, if we had 25% more performance out of a game that's 8 years old.
But that's cool. You seen the DirectX 11 upgrade, right? Was that something we needed to see more?
Upgrade.
Side grid, boys. Side grid.
Well, the FPS went up, but there also became 20% more bugs or something like that.
It's like, hey guys, thank you for purchasing a graphics card. We are now only using your CPU.
The problem is that like people see it's an 8-year-old game. It looks worse than CS:GO, and it runs like garbage compared to Overwatch or Counter-Strike.
Well, think about the players, that are involved in the match. Like, Overwatch has its own issues. Like, personally, I came back from Overwatch.
We're not going into a game comparison, but just like it runs, the graphics don't match up to how it runs compared to many modern games.
That is a pretty major concern. I mean, as much as you don't want to compare games, it is a game. You have to compare games. If you look on the market, why would I play Planetside over Apex Legends? Why would I play Planetside over Fortnite? Why would I play Planetside over, I don't know, Call of Duty, Battlefield, latest Battlefield? Pick your game. And if you look at the comparison, people are going to say, hey, I just played Apex Legends, I come over to Planetside, and I can't figure out where anything is, because I just came from a game where the UI was actually good, versus Planetside, which it's objective. I can't say the UI is good on Planetside. I can't say that.
Oh, I agree.
Feel good. There's a lot of... It is comparable, because it is direct competitors. You have to compare them.
Quality of life.
In person, if you want to help the new player experience, maybe you can make a UI guide for Planetside Guide? ?
Actually, that's not a bad idea. I would feel bad, because then I would have to actually use the current UI in the videos.
No, just take a screenshot, use arrows, and then call it a day. Yeah.
I make fun of it I did a planet's escalation explanation and kind of hype video for it, and I pseudo make fun of it in my edits because it's like, hey, this is where you can find out all of the locations of where to find. You have all these new resources, and you open the map and you can see what all these resources are attached to every base, and it just like flood.
Oh yeah,
the
Planetside has
page
10
with-
different currencies right now.
Yeah, it's
So
like, oh, look
confusing.
at this currency corner. It's not too big, and it's just like I zoom in, it's just nothing but like 6 currencies, and just like arrows
Yeah.
from every direction. It's like, okay,
You
well,
have 6 currencies on the bottom left. You got 3 outfit ones, and you got A7 as well. Or not A7, ASP.
merit.
Yeah, Merit's in the bottom left. Though.
Merit's a new one, yeah.
So
It's just like it's
Personally-
pseudo make fun of it because of that, but
if I had to see them make a change, is I want to see separation between outfits. I've had a lot of outfits. I've seen a lot of smaller outfits disband. I've seen a lot of. GSLD has suddenly started getting a lot of 3KD plus players and established outfits on NCM rule that are more skilled, like pretty much elite fits. I've said, hey, maybe we might want to merge with you sometime down the road, and it's like I don't want to see that. I want to see the pub fits. I want to see the mid fits, and I want to see the elite fits. I want to see that disparity. I think having a 3-tiered system as well for Outfit Wars would be healthy for that.
Exactly. Now
Because
you
right
introduce
now-
something for the big guys.
Mhm.
Might as well do something for the smaller outfits. Yeah.
Because right now I'm seeing a lot of outfits die that are elite fits because they can't keep up with these Zerg fits, but they want to play in this competitive format, right?
They can't
So-
pull a Bastion,
Exactly. So
but people want to see a Bastion.
there's a brand new update that they cannot be a part of, right?
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that pink resources are so rare. I think they should make them more available, but increase the crafting time for Bastion parts by 4 times, 5 times, honestly. Because I've made a Bastion every day since the
It
release.
also gets kind of boring if you always see a Bastion.
Yeah, and it's like because if you keep Bastions as they are and they come out so regularly, you're gonna kill the air game again because people are gonna pull Bastion and there's just gonna be an air ball and no one's gonna contest it anymore.
Fair
It's nothing
point, so-
special if it's always up. Yeah.
So I want outfit tiering. I want to have that. I want to have those elite fits. I want to have those pub fits. I want to have those mid fits because as it stands right now, I don't like what's happening with GSLD because we're getting a lot of new players and a lot of good players, and I don't want GSLD to lose its identity. Right? I don't want to become an everything outfit. I want to be in the middle, and I'm afraid of that's going to happen to other outfits as well. Personally, I've seen it happening to other outfits, and I'm not going to name names, but other outfits that are higher up have had to open up their doors heavily to other players and have really not, I guess, dumbed down their experience at this point, really watered down the experience of that outfit. And I don't want outfits to lose their identity.
Good point. Interesting.
This man is very smart. Listen to him.
Only smart people in this podcast, don't you worry.
Mm.
Any final word, Mr. Rapper Relief?
Oh, that was my final words, man.
That was your final word.
Yo, check out Planetside Guide, join the Discord. Thank you very much for having me, Sam.
Okay. Well, guys, I can only thank you again, Mr. Incursus, Mr. Nicigee, and Mr. Rapper Relief. Thank you so much for being here, guys. For the people watching right now, there will be also audio version available on Spotify soon, and also the video format on a YouTube. So check me out at Faber1 on YouTube, and also, of course, check out the other guys at their YouTube, Twitch, or whatever where they are available. So we'll see you next time. Until, well done.
We'll see you, Planetside.
I don't want to say that anymore.
Hey, there it is.
No.
I'll see you guys later.
Later.